my fellow scholars and world citizens. We are gathered here to discuss the atrocities which have been carried out against the Palestinian people. There has been conflict in Palestine since the First World War. The British supported both sides of the conflict with disastrous results. More than 50 years later, the conflict continues. 63 years have passed since the end of the First World War, and the treatment of the Palestinian people continues to decline. What began as a conflict of two peoples has become a subjugation of a nation. If all men are created equal, why is it that there is a 400-mile-long apartheid wall running through the backs of Palestinian homes? Why is it that our brother Palestinians must have the permission of Israelis in order to pray at their holy sites? Why is it that Palestinian olive growers have been cut off from their livelihoods, cut off from their trees? I will tell you, my friends, I will tell you why this is. They have been walked upon because the international community has failed to see the atrocities that have taken place. The international community has failed to assert itself as an opposing force to the Israelis. The international community has failed to implement a two-state solution, and it has failed to do what is right for the Palestinian people. Too long have the Palestinian people been in the shadow of this looming wall of oppression. Too long have the Palestinian people been in the shadow of the untouchable pinnacle on which the Israeli government stands. Too long have the Palestinian people been in the shadow of the wave of intolerance which constantly crashes down upon them and drives them further off their God-given land. We must all fight to aid the Palestinian people in their escape from the darkness of oppression and into the light of liberty, into the light of justice, into the light of acceptance and equality. The shadows have grown long over the Palestinian lands, but let us be the rising sun that drives them back and brings this wall to its knees. Let us be the shoreline on which the waves of oppression crash and are forced back. Let us be the protecting force of the oppressed and the strength of the weak. Israel is a tank rolling blindly across Palestinian lands and freedoms. We must stand in front of this tank and force it to stop. We must open the driver's eyes to the reality of what he has done and convince Israel to pull back to where the dividing line once was. We must free the Palestinians of oppression. We have allowed the Palestinian people to lose their status as a fully fledged country in the United Nations, and it is us to see that it is reinstated. Let light shine down on the olive farmers and their trees. Let light shine down on thriving Palestinian businesses. Let light shine down on Palestinian and Israeli children playing together in the streets. Let light shine down on Palestine.
Yes. Yeah!